I wonder like what is alive right now. Before I click the record, I actually talk about yesterday, but then it just it doesn't seem like I wanted to talk about it. Like it's not alive anymore. So what do we talk about? What do we talk about? Hmm. What is your relationship with silence? I the beginning the beginning of my life I was really silent and I don't really talk much. I don't really talk about myself. I don't really respond to other people and the people around me was freaking out because I was that silent. Like I'm just do I can I talk? Can she talk or did she think about anything? Like it's just like I'm quietly there watching everything going on. And it sounds like my silence is the loudest that people hear, and it freaks people out. And because they are not accustomed to what silence is really about. So I wonder, like, what is your relationship with silence? What if your mind is just not producing any noise and it's just like so free and you just like be there watching something and not having a single thought. It's just that you are watching something and that is all there is to it. So you just silently sitting there watching everything flowing. There was silence when people tried to intimidate me and I'm just like silently watching them trying to intimidate me, but then they get intimidated by my silence and I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm waiting for more. Do you have anything that you want to say to me besides that thing? And they just like creepingly sneak out from my sight and then just like never in front of me again. But sometimes there is silence that is so peaceful that you're just in tranquility and you watch everything and you be with the nature that you're seeing and you just like flow with it. And sometimes it was so meditative that you don't really need meditation, you don't really need any regulation self-care. Like you don't need to journal, you don't need to meditate, you don't need to breathe, you just be with the nature itself. When that happened, it's really really awesome because at the most part I was also anxious because I don't take care of my body, which is like what happened yesterday and the day before. And when my mind is just like so serene and don't really think of anything and I'm just watching the nature like a freaking TV and I'm watching it frame by frame by what I focus on, it gets me into this everything is gonna be okay. Like the thought creeping out like that. Like, oh yeah, the bird is singing, the wind is whispering the sun is shining, and I'm like, everything is good. Nothing is going sideways. And it's really helpful to be in silence, but not really so much if you cannot contain silence itself. Because if your mind is really loud and you try to be silent, like you try to regulate yourself to be like more calm, more still, and don't really think of anything, it's a lot harder and it's not really beneficial because you are bypassing your natural rhythm, and that's not the point of what regulating your nervous system really is. Regulating your nervous system is about being with your nervous system. Try not to bypass it when you have an anxious, anger, whatever it is. What happens when you try to bypass it is that you are breaking the flow of your own nature. And that's frankly sad, is you're just like cutting your skin alive. Not that it was wrong, it's just that it was so painful because you're trying to keep everything together when everything just wants to destroy itself. It's like you are having a knot here and there trying to keep everything, but they just like want to move away from you. It's hard, but you can do that. But when the nervous system start to calm down and you start to flow with it and you have that silence going on, that's the sweet spot. And it's, you are eventually having to flow with your natural rhythm and you get the peaceful again. You get the peace again. Was there any silence that was really bad besides that? Oh, like if I want to talk about this, like if you are having such an anxious moment, you have this nervous system going on, and everything just like in your mind, like you're so focused in your inner mind that you cannot think of anything else. What I used to do, what I usually do, is actually focus on my external, because everything outside of me is still, it's not moving, they're just there, and they get to be there because that's where they are. And when I'm anxious, it's more of like, oh my God, this thing is not like this thing is not like this. And we start to see the fragments of everything that is not right. And that's the point of anxiety, is that it makes you feel like you need to keep this together, and you start to play tug war, play play that. What do you call it? You start to play, you start to pulling everything and you just feeling so anxious. So because my mind, my inner mind is like that, I then try to look outside and just see, okay, everything is still, it's not, everything, there's nothing that going wrong in my present. I'm just looking at the stillness of the universe, and that helps me to start training my focus to be less and less addicted to the fragments of my mind. It can still be a problem, but the thing is that you don't actually fix your problem by making yourself more anxious about the things that you need to fix. Because the focus of your action the focus of the focus of your inner mind is it can be trained by looking outwards and just like take a minute to see how still everything is and start mimicking that flow and start adapting your inner mind to the thing that you are seeing. Because what I found this way this option to switch the inner focus is because whenever I look down and then I look inside, I tend to use my psychic gift more efficiently than I look at the other person that I'm trying to read. So that's really helpful. So I'm like, if I can do that, if I can like switch on my psychic gift just by looking down and looking inwards, what if when I have an anxiety, that was when I was literally even when I'm looking straight, I'm like in my mind, something is happening, and that takes over every single focus I have. So if I'm just like focused on the external, looking at everything that is just perfectly still, perfectly where they need to be, what would happen? Whenever I start doing that, I'm starting to see how adaptability, how adapt my mind is to the muscle of my body. It's really helpful if you're so anxious. And I found that really works for me. But the thing about sharing ways, sharing how to overcome something, there is something that people overlook is that when you try to use other people's way, it doesn't really click with your way because you don't find it the other intricate details about it. Like how I found my psychic gift turning on by looking down. That is really personal. I don't think like any other psychic has that going on. But even if they do, they use it differently. So that is part of the personal touch, which is like you will find your way by understanding how you have done things. That certainly is. But people overlook that because they just want a quick fix. And I'm like, that's not how you do things. And I have a really high alert about other people. So that really helps me to find my own ways, my own thing to begin with. But that's not for everyone, absolutely. There are people who struggle with identity and they always find themselves to follow other people's way. Sometimes it works, and I did that too. I found things that is other people's way, but then I still adapted because I need to know when to use it. The when to use it is really, it's really like it's the key of your embodiment of the way itself. If you cannot find the when, it's still a useless option, a useless way to know. So that's a like a really what hot take about what don't smell me. No, no. You know what? I train my cats to not smell me, to not lick me because I just don't like it. It's like there's something wrong with me. What do you smell me like that? But that's the thing about following other people's way. But I think I have most the privilege to like activate my own path, my own journey because I don't know if you know human design, and if you do, if you don't, just like test yourself. Not test yourself, just like put your birthday and place of birth, I think. Yeah. The city of where you were born at, and it will show you what is your human design. For me, it was like 1 3 emotional manifesting generator with every center defined. And that's really important because not everyone have the every center defined. That's really rare. I am struggling with rarity because I was so superior about my everything. It just never makes sense to me to work with my superiority because I am that person who just always look down on other people because I know what I have, and I'm always sure about what I have. So I never like try to, what do you call it, delegate myself to other people. That's actually the weakness of it. But yeah, and and that's why like I don't really struggle with identity because I'm just like I know for sure. I just know. I don't need for you to tell me. I know. It is that sometimes I don't want to do it. Just like yesterday when I'm like really sick and I know how to do certain things, but I didn't do it because I don't want to. And when I don't want to, I can like say no with really stern belief, conviction, that no matter what you're gonna say, I'm not buying. That's not how I want to change myself. You need to be so witty and really masterful about moving my mind. Because if I said no, nothing will change my mind. But yeah, I have such a not high regards. It's just that confusion around people. Why do they not have this much of identity certainty? Because I do. But then I grow up to understand that not everyone is. That's the problem. Not everyone is, not everyone has the pathway to it. And that's why you have it. And that's why you need to share it. And that's why you need to be there for other people to know, oh, that's how you do it. That's about it. I didn't know I have talked for 18 minutes. I was just blabbering here and there from talking about silence because I don't think of anything else. And I think like this is the hard part about um, doing a silent live stream is that whenever I have something going on, I don't really say it, and I always be what do you call it? Like I don't really talk about myself too much. But if I have something to say, it always lengthy because it was just deep and really explanatory. So everything is here, or step one, there, step two. Like everything here has its steps. I don't know. And here's another thing is that do you guys know numerology? I was born in July 31st, 1996, and 31 is actually numerology 4, and 4 is about law and order, about theory, about concept. So it's always about making things in order and step by step, and that's just my thing. And that's why I always said in a lengthy speech. And when I explained my situation yesterday, it was me about sharing my perspective, my capacity, my limitation, and everything. And it sounds like I'm venting, but actually not. I'm just saying everything that there is to make a decision. And I am that person who need to know every single detail, because one small detail will overlook any decision that can be an option. So that's why I say the way I said it. But it does have the hint of me feeling guilty, so I don't say anything because it does has that. But it also it's just my way of saying things. But if I don't have anything to say, I just don't say it. I just That's why I don't gossip. I don't have that female group to be like shitting people, and I'm like I always like the person who was going to look at the other person to ask them, "How do you know that?" And most of the time it was assumption, and I'm like I can't trust these bitches because they always talk in the feeling state, and I'm like, but that's not the truth. So why do you make an assumption like that? I don't know. Ask the other female friends that you have, because there are people like that, or they were like in my state, like yesterday, when everything is just crumbling down, you are crashing out, and just you can't really think straight, and you're just blabbering out everything that there is to it. You don't feel better. You just do what you do, and that's what you need to do at that time. It's really really terrible to be a woman because of that reason, that your emotional is being controlled by your hormones, and you don't have the ability to actually think straight for a couple of days until you catch yourself and eventually be in a state of guilt, shame, disappointment, regrets, sad, unhappy. Like I also know that I was not this type of person before I had my period, my first period ever. And I always like looking outside, looking what other people do, being so adult like in a human child body, in a child body, and people always like think that I am really grown up for my age. But I think it was because how I don't really smile when I was a child, because my body was that, I don't, what do you call it? Stoned. Like it just doesn't move, and I don't really know how to use my expression. And I need to, and growing up, I need to train myself how to smile because I just don't know how to use emotion at the time because my body was just like stone. It's just like it doesn't move anywhere. That is one of the way. I want to talk about like how to activate to feel your emotion because I struggle with that to the max. Like I can't really smile. I don't know how to feel myself, even though like I'm so psychic. I know how other people are feeling, but I just don't know myself. It's so weird. It's a weird experience because sometimes it was just period talking, but then sometimes it just you never learn how to do it. Or maybe it's a traumatic event, which is what I also had. And that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow.